Hey, true seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's Wednesday, January 25th, 2017. This morning, one of the top headlines is that the Dow Jones has hit a record 20,000 points for the first time ever. It wasn't long ago, it just hit 19,000 for the first time ever. We've been watching record breaking number after record breaking number ever since the collapse, the supposed collapse that we were told about, that we had to bail out the mega banks for at the end of 2008, the beginning of 2009. Ever since that major fall in the market, it's been nothing but record numbers for Wall Street, while the average American has struggled to find a living wage, a full-time job with benefits. So anyhow, what I'm going to show you in this video is why the Dow is hitting 20,000 points today. This has everything to do with Wall Street. This is a tribute. Our financial markets are rigged. They are a master manipulation, duping the masses, robbing and pillaging the masses again and again. What a lot of average Americans who invest their money in the market don't understand is that it truly is corrupt. It's rigged. It's controlled by the wealthiest, most powerful banking, financial industrialists in the world. That's why so often people get took for their money in the market and the richest gain from it. But anyway, let's get into why the 20,000 point tribute today. We're going to be talking about the language of Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. More on that in just a moment. Not long ago, just before I started the video, CNN had the breaking news, 20,000 for first time ever. It's up 1,667 points since President Trump's victory in November. I mean, that's a lot of points. Nearly 2,000. If I'm not mistaken, when the Dow collapsed, when Obama was first taking office, that big fall to start his term, before the record gain, I think that the record Dow number was around 10,000. So now the record number is double, and in reality, average Americans are not doing anywhere near twice as good. Most Americans are hurting twice as bad. You know, if you surveyed the populace in the time Wall Street's been booming, the average man has not. So anyhow, today's date, January 25th, 2017, date with numbers as you see, 63, 36, 18. Notice all of those numbers have 9 numerology. 6 plus 3, 9. 3 plus 6 for 36, 9. 1 plus 8 for 18, 9. Also a date with 43 numerology. I just want to show you how this system works real quick. Very simple system here. Notice Jones sums to 18 and 63. Ordinal means using the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, up to Z is 26. Reduced is using the alphabetic order, but turning each letter to a single digit. J, the 10th letter, 1 plus 0 is 1. O, the 15th, 1 plus 5, 6. N, the 14th, 1 plus 4, 5. E, 5. S, the 19th, 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. S is the only letter you have to add together twice. There's something called the S exception. With the S exception, Jones is also 27. But anyhow, today's date numerology, 63 and 18. The Dow Jones at a record level. It's also a date with a life lesson number of 36, and that is the number of Wall Street, you know. Wall Street, 36. Take away that S exception, alphabetic order, those are your numbers. 135 is a number that has to do with revelation, prophecy, the establishment of the city of Philadelphia, the original capital, which is named from Revelation in the Bible. It's another topic too, but 135, special number as well. Save that one for a rainy day. With regards to today's date having 43 numerology, I want to show you this relationship between 42 and 43. When you write out 42, it sums to 43. Dow has Gematria of 42 like Dow Jones, and Dow Jones has Gematria of 33 and 42, very special numbers to Freemasonry. Freemasonry. All centered around 33, 42. You know, economics. Whoops, you gotta spell it right. Spelling's crucial. Economics, 42. Dow, 42. Freemason, 42. History, 42. Knowledge, 42. Astrology, 42. Have you ever read the Bible? The Bible begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. The New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. The original published Bibles are 42-line Bibles. Again, history, 42. Knowledge, 42. They say the story of the Bible is the story of the stars in the sky. Astrology. Christmas has everything to do with the winter solstice. Saturnalia. Ancient worship of Saturn, keeper of time. There's so much more I could tell you, but I'm just establishing why these numbers. With regards to 20,000, if you just write out 20,000, this new benchmark has Gematria 56 like president. They just made a big deal about how Jackie Kennedy wore baby blue for the first time since, or Melania Trump, Donald Trump's wife, wore baby blue for the first time since Jackie Kennedy in 1961, which was 56 years ago. Her husband, the last president to be assassinated, Assassin 56, President 56. There's something called Jewish Gematria. JFK was shot from 411 Elm Street, and on Christmas Day 1961, there was an episode of the Andy Griffith Show where a bootlegging family gets busted at 411 Elm Street. 411 Elm Street, the Kennedys were a bootlegging family. There's a lot more to that story as well. JFK died in Dealey Plaza, having Gematria 45, Trump the 45th president, elected on the anniversary of the Berlin Wall. Berlin Wall, Dealey Plaza, Mr. Wall, Donald Trump the Wall. Look at this, the Andy Griffith Show. It was the Andy Griffith Show that talked about the bootlegging family, 411 Elm Street. JFK ends up getting assassinated from 411 Elm Street. In Dealey Plaza, 108. Dealey Plaza, 108. You see? Remember, I was showing how the World Series was synced up with the election. The Chicago Cubs just broke the 108-year drought. Chicago, the Zionist Mecca. Zionism 42. We're going off topic here, but people might be listening and they're like, what? Sears Tower? Look at what Willis Tower equals, 57. Now look at what World Series equals, 57. The tallest building in Chicago, renamed the Willis Tower, 108 stories. Cubs break the 108-year drought. Classic team in Major League Baseball. Major League Baseballs have 108 double stitches on them. Major League 108. Not to mention, if you saw my work in spring training, I said why the Cubs would win it this year. I said why they'd win it in Game 7. I said how Miguel Montero would be connected to the winning run. He scored the winning run. Plus a million other things. So anyway, news by the numbers. Now here's the next thing I got to show you. The other headline besides this about the whole, despite no evidence, Trump wants to voter fraud investigation. This is just all part of an ongoing distraction. The other big headline is Trump is making an order today to have the wall built. That's supposed to be a headline at some point today that Donald Trump has signed off on building the wall. I want to remind you about Donald Trump and wall. Donald Trump equals 48, just like wall. These are the two methods using the alphabetic order. If you missed my video on the Berlin Wall, John F. Kennedy, and Donald Trump, it has everything to do with this number 138. JFK died 831 days after the Berlin Wall construction began, plus a million other things. This is all part of an ongoing riddle. JFK, killed by Oswald, who came back from Soviet Russia. Zapruder, who made the film from that same region of the world. Donald Trump with this flirting with Putin. His wife from that part of the world. These stories of Russian hacking. It's just all to plant these subliminals that are already in our mind. They're recreating history. Dealey Plaza 45, Trump the 45th, running this divisive campaign meant to divide the people, meant to provoke different elements. It's all divide and conquer. This headline came late last night on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it might have already been midnight. Here, I posted it pretty quick right after it broke. Let me see what time I posted this at. So it was 12:38 on the East Coast because I'm out here on the West Coast. It broke close to midnight. I mean, the post probably took me 20 minutes to put together. Maybe 15 minutes. I don't know. Trump to order wall to be built. And just look at already the symbolism. The beginning structure of the wall, a cross here. People put crosses like that when somebody dies. It's already symbolizing what this wall is going to be about. Needless carnage, needless death, money invested in building a wall, policing the wall. Understand all those people at the wall policing the wall, they're somebody that could have a different job, creating something helpful in the world. See, the whole world is structured around war and killing and incarcerating people and demonizing people over things that are human. Let's put people in prison because they want to get high. Let's put people in prison because, they paid for sex. Why? Well, what is this all about? I mean, if you think it's so evil, then help these people do something else. Not put them in a box because, And these topics are so much deeper. I mean, people, the way they are is because all of life's circumstance, But anyway, this stuff is sick. This is the front page of CNN last night. And it's based on Trump speculation that he's going to make this announcement today. Trump to order wall to be built. 112 like Zionist. Remember, Donald Trump said nobody loves Israel more than him. The Zionist, false Jewish nation. Just mentioned that the word mathematics is 112. 1 plus 1 is 2. And that's what we're doing. Arithmetic here. Arithmetic for how to turn the nation even further against itself. How to commit national suicide, essentially. The orange Oompa Loompa in chief, leading us to destruction. Donald Trump, look at what he's doing, you guys. He said he wants stop and frisk for the police. He says he wants more censorship. He wants all of these things that are part of the police state narrative, and people think he's a populist. Oh, God. This headline also has Gematria of 337, which is the 68th prime number. 1968 was 49 years ago. Washington 49, Revelation 49. In Revelation, there's the 7 trumpets that are the warnings. This is the Trump-Pence ticket. Donald Trump, the 45th president, announced as the 45th president. Notice Holy Bible's 45, like the trumpets that close out Revelation. Revelation, the 66th book of the Bible. Donald Trump has 66 birth numerology, born June 14th, 1946. But anyway, Revelation 49, the square root of 49 is 7. Donald Trump takes the White House at age 70 years, 7 months and 7 days on Inauguration Day. 7 trumpets are the warning in Revelation. Remember, the Freemason motto is order out of chaos, 777. Donald Trump, 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days. 70 in numerology is 7. All things I've been talking about for months. Go back and watch the videos where I get more into it. But anyhow, Donald John Trump, 1968, 49 years ago. 68 was a huge year. 911 made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began in New York. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. That was 33 years before 2001 when George W. Bush took office. He was a member of Skull and Bones, the Masonic order within the school Yale. Notice that Bonesmen, what is the alumni of Skull and Bones, equals 33 and 42. George W. Bush's birthday is July 6th, 1946. Born less than a month after Trump. Clinton, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, George W. Bush, all born within a month of each other. Clinton's born in August. I guess all born within 2 months of each other. And I bet you all born and bred to be from a young age to know that they'd be presidents. Trump winning over Hillary Clinton. Anyway, look at George W. Bush's birthday. And you can look it up. This is George W. Bush's birthday, I assure you. 7 plus 6 plus 1 plus 9 plus 4 plus 6 is 33. And what's extra creepy is from his birthday to September 11th is a span of 68 days. 68 was the year he graduated from Skull and Bones, became a bonesman 33 years before becoming president. We just talked about bonesman. And remember, 42 with the S exception, Freemason 42, this is a Masonic order. By the way, Yale equals 43. When you write out 42, it sums to 43. George W. Bush was the 43rd president. His brother Jeb was the 43rd governor. His father was the 43rd vice president and the 41st president. Skull and Bones equals 41. His father, Skull and Bones, just like George W. Bush. 41, the 13th prime. USA 41, 13 colonies, 13 stripes, 13 years of public school education, filling up your mind with bullshit. It's an amazing truth seeker. All this time, getting ruled over by tyrants by the numbers and crackheads like George W. Bush. That's why I try to wake up the masses. If we can wake up the people that are ruling over us, you know, they're old, they're weak, they're goons, they're not even that smart themselves. They're just, it's like at this day and age, it's just that they're born into the thrones and the masses are just so used to being ruled over and the system's good enough for them that they just go along with it. Imagine if we woke up and changed things around, you know? Remember that thing I just showed you the other day about how the very wealthiest 1% of the nation, the very top 0.1%, that demographic has more than the bottom 50% of wealth holders in this nation. The richest 0.1% have more money in this nation than the bottom 50%, which is most people watching this video. So anyway, this headline, 337, the 68th prime, the name Donald John Trump 68, his tallest tower, 68 stories. I've been showing a lot of parallels between George W. Bush. George W. Bush equals 58 like Freemasonry. Just plug it in and see. George W. Bush, 58. Freemasonry, 58. Secret Society. Whoops. Sometimes I can't type. Secret Society, 58. What year was this country established? 1776. Show you something about the word America with Francis Bacon Gematria. 76. Look at United States Truth Seeker 58. If there's 3 methods to know, it's this, reduced, S exception, and ordinal. There's more that are important, but these 3 are where the majority are. If you know some of these other forms, you see some other tributes. You know? Like Donald being announced as the 45th president on November 9th, where he has that commercial from 6 years earlier talking to the sheep with numbers 11 and 9 on them about being born for the job, dressed in the same suit he wore for election night. Notice Donald's also 50 with the alphabetic order, just like America. Whoops. Just like America. America 32, if you write out 32, also sums to 50. Our date of establishment, you know, 32. 32. Things aren't a coincidence, truth seeker. Not these things. Let's see. This is a great follower of my YouTube and my blog, always making great comments. He noticed that Border Wall has the same gematria as president. And let's just fact check it real quick. Boom. Yep, it's right. Donald Trump was in the 47-story Midtown Hilton Hotel the night of the election. 47. Number of foundation for the Freemasons. They have something called Euclid's 47th problem about how to establish foundation using the North Star. You know, foundation 47, framework, authority, obey, judge, gavel. So just yesterday, before the announcement that he was going to do this today about the wall, remember yesterday I showed this video about Donald Trump's April 26, 2000 speech, and I pointed out two things about it. In this speech, he guaranteed he would beat Hillary and he would have the wall built. And I said, remember that. Those were his two guarantees. He'd beat Hillary and he'd have the wall built. And the thing to understand is this is all scripted and planned. That's why he was so confident, because he's just fulfilling the script. He's the puppet, and this is how it's all been planned the whole time. When he began his speech, April 26th, he had his big primary day, gave his big victory speech. It was clear he'd become the Republican nominee on this day. It was his wife's 46th birthday. He began his speech at 9:58. This is just before the 58th presidential election, which he won. Inauguration day was a date with 58 numerology. It was the 58th presidential inauguration. They hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray to do the ceremonies. I want to show you something about the name Steve Ray. Sums to 115. He was 58 years old, hosted the ceremonies for the 58th presidential inauguration on the date with 58 numerology. United States 58, Freemasonry, Secret Society, Annuit Coeptus. We the People is 58, which is the campaign Shepard Fairey used. Anyway, notice the 115. Donald Trump's coming in with the 115th Congress. If you write out 58, it sums to 115. And with regards to JFK, JFK died on a date with 115 numerology and the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Freemason. He died 11/22, 11 plus 22, 33. You can just write the date 63, 11/22/63. That's a date with 96 numerology, Freemasons 96. If you do the full date, 11/22/1963, it's 115, 19 more than 96. 115, Freemasons. Donald Trump coming in with the 115th Congress. His wife wearing the baby blue, not worn since Jackie Kennedy. And they said it was Ralph Lauren that made Melania Trump's baby blue outfit. I think I might keep calling Melania as I'm speaking Jackie Kennedy. If I keep doing that, I'm sorry. You guys know I just speak off the cuff. It's early in the morning here, but I got to get this video out. I'm writing the book, so I'm working hard. I want to get the videos out and write the book at the same time. That's what I'm trying to do. I think I'm going to pull it off. But anyway, Ralph Lauren, Jackie Kennedy. Ralph Lauren, Jackie Kennedy, both 54. No baby blue since Jackie Kennedy. Baseball's 54. Chess 54. Special number 54. Again, the World Series was synced up with this election, this ongoing show. We just talked about how 112 was coded into the headline a second ago. Remember, this was the 112th World Series that just passed as well. So anyway, it's an ongoing show by the numbers. If you missed my video last night on why Obama's 221 million, it's all part of this Freemasonic network. This is the number of the Bavarian Illuminati, which is all Freemasonry. These pictures they give us, people smirking, selling out the masses, lying them to every day. The world, our leaders that so many people look up to that go on the TV screen, they don't realize that they're worshiping sociopaths. People who can just lie without any regard, who truly don't care about others. It's all about them. It's all about their self-gain, their power, their ego, their status. They don't really care about others. I was telling people in 2008, it was very clear that's what Obama was. Giving people these big, hopeful, lofty ideas while having a resume that showed he was nothing but a, typical politician with a horrible voting record. On the side of big industry, big banks, warmongering, the loss of rights, liberties, the building of the police state. That was Obama's voting record, his whole political career. He could say whatever he wanted on the campaign trail. His voting record showed who he was. And he lied to everybody while he was running for office. You remember what Obama did? When he was running for office, the big issue was immunity for the telecommunication companies. And how did he vote? How did he vote? he campaigned that these companies could not get immunity. They had been breaking the law. They had been collecting people's information. They needed to be held accountable. This is what he was saying on the campaign trail, but how did he vote? He voted for immunity after saying that they needed to be held accountable. That is such a dishonest thing to do. Preach the right thing and then vote the opposite way. And he campaigned on it for months. I don't know how anybody could have voted with Obama or for him that was paying attention to anything. They had a clue in the world. And that's the problem. Nobody has a clue. That's why I'm out here speaking, trying to wake people up. Here was another headline from last night. White House, Trump does believe millions voted illegally. Does believe. Notice how they emphasize that. Gematria 49 like Washington and 58 like everything else we talked about. Winner of the 58th presidential election, Freemasonry, Secret Society, United States, Annuit Coeptus. You see, True Seeker, it's just... none of this stuff's coincidence, you know. This 221 million, look at this. Where's the rest of the... oh, I guess I made the video last night and didn't put together the rest of the article. Last night in the video I made, I showed how it was 221 days. Oh, I know what I did. I linked it right here. So look at this. George H.W. Bush was hospitalized November 18th, just before the election, exactly 221 days after his birthday. Donald Trump sending his tweet out, 221, 33,000 likes. Look at this. From George H.W. Bush's birthday to hospitalization, 221 days. This number's been huge in Trump's life. It's because these guys are all in the Masonic New World Order network. You gotta watch these videos right here. And about 50 other ones I made. But anyway, Donald Trump, he was married to Melania, and this Melania is all symbolic. She has everything to do with this election. She has all the numbers coded into her. It's amazing. It's just like how Trump was giving his victory speech on her birthday. Anyway, they were married January 22nd, 22/1, 221. From Trump's birthday to Inauguration Day was 221 days. From their wedding once upon a time, January 22nd, 2005 to June 14th, 143 days, just like her name. This is how this gang operates. And I'm just going into all these examples. I don't know if I'm explaining it as clearly as I should, but I'll link all these down below if you want to take the time to read them and think about them and fact check them and do some additional research. You learn this knowledge of the Gematria, it's going to blow your mind. You know, you're going to see exactly what I've been seeing for over 3 years. That this is how the people who govern over us, the powers that shouldn't be, this is how they're operating. Let's talk about that word believe. I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to think, research, and again, find what I found. That's why I teach all this for free. I thought by now, after doing this for 3+ years straight, I'd have at least 1 million people doing this by now. And who knows, maybe I do, and I just don't know. I hope that's what's going on. That's what needs to be going on, and even more. Because the more knowledge being put out, the more people awake, the faster this all comes to an end. So anyway, believe. 33, special number to the gang, federal 33, order 33, secrecy 33, masonry 33. Did I write federal? Because I need to make a point about federal. Federal 33, just like order. Washington, D.C. equals 137. And 137 is the 33rd prime number. 137, the 33rd prime. The meridian that cuts through Washington, D.C., they call it the American meridian. Notice it also sums to 137. The word authority equals 137. And here's a stat about Washington, D.C. Out of all the Confederate war generals, only one has a statue in Washington, D.C. The Civil War, the southern side. And that is Albert Pike, one of the most important Freemasons in the history of the nation. Notice the name Albert's 58, like Freemasonry. Albert Pike is 99, like when you write out the word 13. Again, we talked about the significance of 13. But anyway, his book is called Morals and Dogma. Morals and Dogma. 137, the 33rd prime. They call it the Freemason Bible. So we covered a lot there. It was kind of haphazard. I'd give this video maybe a C minus. But if you're new here and you paid attention and you do some more research, I got a lot of videos that are A plus. I'm just so sick of talking about Donald Trump by the numbers and watching this shit go down, Truth Seeker. I just knew it in 2001 after September 11th, and no one wanted to stand up for justice or talk about what really went on that day. I just knew we were on this roller coaster that was, the slope was going to get worse. And now here we are with the Orange Oompa Loompa. I just can't believe this. If you're my age and you're anything like me, you must just be so weirded out. When I was in high school, my favorite thing about high school was once a year, there was the 2-day debate. We'd all go to our big auditorium thing, and we could all participate in a debate about topics. And back in the 90s, it was no different in the 90s, really. I mean, talk radio was mostly conservative Republican. Fox News was coming out. Back then, the conservative right, the group that elected George W. Bush as the president, well, elected, it's all rigged, but enough people get duped into voting and validating the lies, and the next thing you know, you have the crack smoker, son of a former president who can't formulate a sentence as your president. I was 17 when that happened, and I just knew I lived in a farce. And then 9/11 happened, and I thought, oh my God, what is wrong with where I am living right now? And fast forward to today, I've been asking the same question every day of my life, at least once a day. But look, this is insanity. In the 90s, this is what it was. The conservative right was pushing building this wall. I mean, it was Rush Limbaugh, Michael Savage, all these right-wing talkers talking about building this wall. High school kids, I remember they'd get up there and debate about building this wall. That was the only time we got to debate. And just like I do now, I was speaking out then about how stupid this idea is. I mean, this is a waste of human resources. So this is what it is. History by the numbers. It goes on every day. You want to know the code, you got to learn this language of Gematria. Check out my videos. There's a whole lot more to this, but this video gave you a lot of things to work with here. Until next time, Truth Seeker.